Hello and welcome. My name is Tom and I'm joined today by Dr. Chris from Casio.
Hi, Tom.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah.
So we are looking at the Casio CDP-S160 piano today. So this is one of the newer additions to the CDP range, isn't it?
It is, absolutely, yes. So the CDP-S range of Casio pianos has been really, really popular, and the CDP-S160 is the latest model in that line. It's got a few extra features, which we'll talk about in a moment. But first and foremost, I mean, this is a really great piano if you're a beginner and you're looking for something to make the first steps into piano music. But it's also got all the features that you need if you're looking for something compact to practice on, maybe as a second piano, if you need something that's a bit lighter than your regular instrument to take around. This is a really great choice. We've got, of course, 88 weighted keys. It uses Casio's scaled hammer action. And the nice thing about the keys themselves are they've got a lovely tactile feel to them. And you've also got a texture on the black and the white keys, which is nice because it sort of makes it feel a lot more easy to play. It's a nice feel under the fingers.
It gives it that more premium feel, so it's not quite so plasticky, as it were, under the fingers. So it does give that sort of element of prestige as well.
It does, it does. And we've got some, extra things on here so that you'll find that the key weighting is different. So on the bass keys, the hammers underneath are just slightly heavier than the ones at the top, because that's what you'd have on an acoustic piano. So, we, in terms of realism, we've got quite a few steps ahead of instruments that we had maybe only a couple of years ago.
Because ultimately, what a digital piano does is try and strive to be as close to an acoustic piano. So by having that weighted, it does really replicate what happens with a traditional piano. Absolutely,
absolutely. So great piano sound. And for me, the nice thing about the piano sound is it's really, really expressive. So obviously it's touch sensitive. But the nice thing about it is that you can play it very, very softly and you get this sort of very nice mellow sound. Or if you really want to play with a bit more energy and bounce too, you'll hear that piano sound change. So, you've got a lot of dynamic range.
And the quality of the sound change as well. So it's not just the volume of it, but it is actually the physical the sound of it, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that's really important. If you're buying a piano to want to do some serious study, it can be the pop and contemporary music or classical music. Sometimes if you buy a piano and you sit down and play it, it looks great, but sometimes the sound doesn't always connect with your key presses. So the dynamic range is limited. With the CDP-S160, you've got a huge dynamic range from something that's really, really compact, which is great. Of course, on this, there are some features that you won't find on the lower models of CDP-S piano. So we've got things like, obviously we've got the stand, which is important because it means that the keys are exactly the right height. So the keys are the same height as an acoustic piano. Now that might not sound very important, but actually from a piano teacher's point of view, having the keys at the right height is really important. Because if you put the keyboard too high or too low on a stand, it means that your technique that you develop isn't going to be quite right. And perhaps if you go and play another piano somewhere else, either at a teacher's studio or if you're performing, you're going to find it a little bit off-putting. So to have something like this that's sturdy and at the right height is really useful. The other thing that's great is that the CDP-S160 is a little bit exclusive insofar as it's got this fixed pedal board on the floor here. So the pedal board gives me 3 pedals to use. I've obviously got the what we call the damper pedal or the sustain pedal. Now the sustain pedal works purely by just by holding the notes down.
Which people think of when they think of a piano pedal.
Absolutely. It's the one of the basic ingredients of a piano. But for many portable digital pianos, Yeah, you get the sustain pedal, but sometimes it's a separate unit by itself. So it's on the floor, and when you're playing, you can sometimes
They can have a tendency to move around, can't they? So you're sort of permanently sort of chasing the pedals with your feet.
Absolutely right. So to have it fixed in place is brilliant. And the other thing, of course, is that you've got two other pedals here. We've got the soft pedal, which makes the piano tone just slightly softer, and the middle pedal, which is what we call the sostenuto pedal, which is kind of like a selective sustain. So if I play a chord, hold the middle pedal down. If I play other notes that weren't in that chord, like that one, the B and the C and the D, they're not going to sustain, but the G did because it was in that original chord that I played. So you don't often find that. I mean, that's something that you would get on a grand piano. So to have it in something like this, which is obviously a fraction of a cost of a grand piano, is quite amazing, really. The other thing I like about the CDP-S160 is it has a song recorder. And a song recorder, I mean, obviously we know what a song recorder does, but if you're a student and you're learning something to play, a song recorder can be really useful because you can obviously use the recorder, you can play, listen back to what you've been doing.
And critique your own performance and identify where you've done really well. Oh, I like the way I performed that, but actually my technique could probably improve a bit there. That was a bit messed and everything. So you can really sort of fine tune on your learning, can't you?
Absolutely. And of course you can, with piano music, you can record maybe your left hand part and play it back while you play the right hand live. So it's a great way of, learning the piece individually and being able to hear the whole thing. And it's a great motivator. You hear the end result before you actually get there, which is brilliant. So the song recorder on this is really useful. It's very easy to use. You just simply have to hold down. There's a button here that says, it's got a start and stop icon on it. If I hold it down, after a couple of seconds, it will start to flash like that. All I've got to do is play. Press it again to stop it. There we go. Press it again, and you get to hear it back. So
easy.
It couldn't be easier, could it really? So that's lovely. And all the other features on here, again, they're all printed on the panel, which is a great thing. I mean, often when you get a piano, you'll get an instruction manual with it, or
it looks like a spaceship because you've got all these different buttons to press here and there. It's just sort of so focused. And actually, what do I want? That.
Absolutely. So we've got here everything that you would need. You've got different sounds. So for example, if I wanted to play, change the piano tone to maybe strings, just hold down the function button, press strings, like that, get the beep, and then we're back to strings again. You could actually, if you wanted to, layer two sounds together. So mix two together. Let's have piano and strings together. There we go. And now we've got... So, you've got lots of different sounds there. And everything else is on the panel. We've got a metronome. We can adjust the touch sensitivity of the keyboard. You've got transpose. Everything really that you'd want is actually there. You don't have to go into the manual or go into a screen. It's very easy to use.
So another thing that I really like is the fact that it is a stage piano ultimately. So you can actually take it off from here and pick it up and take it wherever you need to go. I know it does come with the complete stand as well. So it is sort of that versatile musician as well who does want to go out on the stage and perform, but then also want to have a nice piece of furniture at home and really sort of practice and it fit in with the life at home.
That's a really good point. So you're absolutely right. I mean, it's secured quite sturdily, but actually underneath there are 4 thumb screws that you very quickly release, and you can just literally lift the top of the piano off the stand. The piano itself, the top part, is just over 11 kilos. So it's one of the lightest pianos to take around. We mentioned earlier it runs on batteries. It's got a USB port on the back of it, so you connect it up to a tablet or a computer.
So you can then use it as a MIDI device as well. So if you're playing into a DAW, you've got your MIDI keyboard.
You've got an 88-note, touch-sensitive, really nice feeling key action as well. So it means you can, you're not limited to just the internal sounds. If you really like to use computers in your music making, you can use this as a controller.
Because with a lot of MIDI controllers and everything, you don't get the same level of action, and the keys I know can feel a bit more plastic. So if you're used to that side of things, it's great. But I think being a piano player and going straight into that, you want something that is secure under the fingers and has got that action response that you need.
Absolutely. And of course you can use the pedals as well when you're controlling things. So it's great from that regard as well.
So a big thank you to Dr. Chris for joining us today. I'm sure we've learned a lot more about the CDP-S160. If you've enjoyed our video, click like, click subscribe, and any comments leave below. Thank you for watching.